Hey y'all, welcome back to another video. My name is Michael Gammons. This is M.O.G bass fishing, and today I'm going to be talking to you a little bit about Lake Lanier bass fishing. Recently we just had a PBC tournament, and me and my teammate ended up finishing pretty well. We were fishing a few days the week of, and of course on Derby Day. We ended up doing really good. The week of, we had a few days to where we caught 15 to 20 pounds, and it was just super fun. And the main bait that we were throwing is a Damiki, this little guy right here. I'm throwing it on a 1/4 Smeltonator 2/0 hook, and this is a Z-Man 3.75 little swim bait. This is a baby shad, or a baby bass color. And then I'm throwing it on this rod and reel setup, which is a Tatula Elite. It's the Randy Howe one. It's a 7.3, and it's anywhere from any baits you want to throw, from a swim bait to a shaky head to a drop shot. This rod gets the job done. Now the reel that I'm throwing it with is a Tatula LT 3000. This reel, I choose to do a 3000 just because it kind of helps me just bomb the bait out there, and most of the time I'm working it pretty quick, so this reel definitely gets the job done. Now, the leader line that I'm throwing is Sunline Sniper. It is 6-pound test, so really light, but it definitely helps me get those extra bites. And I'm throwing it on Sunline Braid, which is 8-pound test. And the knot that I'm using them to tie together is an FG knot, which a previous video I show how to tie one and how I do it. And I mean, I absolutely love this knot. It's the only thing that I throw, and I highly recommend people learning it and tying it, because it is one of the strongest knots that you can tie. So next, I'm going to be telling y'all and showing y'all some of the spots that I recommend going to on Lanier and finding some of these big old spotted bass. So moving to the graph here, I'm going to be showing y'all areas that I recommend. Starting off here, we're in 6 Mile Creek, and points that we were focusing on were these long points next to deep water and that were sharp drop-offs. This is a nice long one right here, and most of the time these points will have brush anywhere from 50 feet all the way up to 20 feet. And most of the time what you want to do is you want to start on this bottom, have that trolling motor on 60 to 100, and just troll all the way up and down these points, looking for piles, rocks, and especially if you see bait balls and fish under them, fish under the bait balls, always cast at those bait balls, because most of the time if you're throwing that Damiki, you cast on that bait ball and that Damiki drops right under it and you start shaking, then fish are going to come up, shoot up, and absolutely bang that Damiki. Another point that we were focusing on were stuff like this, to where it was a little bit shallower, about 14 to 20 feet, and these fish would come up from this deep water, and since it's so shallow, they just pull up real quick, have some bait, and then come right down. So these points, especially too, I would be focusing on and looking for, especially when they have these sharp drop-offs. And lastly, me and my teammate, we were looking at things like this. So right here in 6 Mile, you have this little pinch point from where you're coming from, like the main lake all the way into the creek. It has this little pinch point right here, so bait and bass, anything that's moving in or out of the creek, is going to have to come through this pinch point. So it is a really good spot to go to and kind of just roam around. You can roam anywhere from each of these points, or even in the middle, have that live scope on 70 to 80, and you're just looking for those bait balls in those big piles of fish. And usually in 6 Mile or other creeks, you'll be able to find those big schools roaming around in this middle, because of course they're looking for bait. So this pinch point is just a great spot, because I mean, fish, they just load up in there. And that's what I got for y'all. Lake Lanier, it's a great fishery. Highly recommend fishing it if you haven't. It's got tons of great points and brush anywhere. It's easily one of those places where you can drop a 20-25 pound sack of spots and just have a great day out on the water. But anyhow, well, thank y'all for watching, and I will see y'all in the next one.